Hey everybody, welcome back to Elle. It's another wonderful week. And I thought that this week I would talk about the new show Preachers of Atlanta. I was going to talk about it a little bit sooner on my written blog, but I said I was going to wait because I wanted to see another episode so I could, clear things out in my mind about if I felt the correct way about some people. And I really feel like the first impression really was true. But anywho, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it now. If you're not into religion, I'm sorry, it's not the video for you. If you're easily offended, it's not the video for you either. Because as I told you all before, I'm very honest, very opinionated. So I'm gonna tell it like it is. I'm gonna keep it real with you all. And I have a lot to say. So I got my tablet. So if you see me looking and touching, that's what I'm doing. Because I had to collect my thoughts. So first of all, I'm gonna start off with Pastor Judah, which we really didn't get to see a lot about. We just know a couple things. One of those things being that his father is a gay preacher. Uh, it's a subject that I really don't want to touch, but I'm gonna have to just, how something say don't touch it, like wood paint, don't touch it, you poke at it. So I'm just gonna poke it, and I'm not gonna rub around in it, but I'm just gonna say something. I don't have a problem with homosexual people, so I don't want anybody to feel like I'm being ignorant when I say this, but for you to be openly living in a sin and not trying to improve on that sin, I can't follow you and I'm sorry, and it's not just homosexuality, it's adultery, fornication, you're an alcoholic or, you having sex with random women. I don't want to follow you. I don't want to follow you at all. And I know reverends like that, who I can't even sit up here and look at you seriously because I know the sins that you commit. I know what you do. And don't get me wrong, everybody sins. We sin daily, and that's why Jesus died for us. But I don't know. Even if lying, it's not even just the homosexual part. I've had, like I said, yes, it's a sin, but God said love everybody. So I'm not gonna be prejudiced about it, but it makes me hard to follow anyone that I know is openly doing things that they shouldn't be doing. And it's not just limited to that. So, anywho, his whole family seems dysfunctional, though. Julie, your whole family seems dysfunctional. And I'm sorry about that. But the brother that preaches the gospel of rock and roll, I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but I ain't even gonna poke at that one. I'm just gonna leave it alone. Next, I'm gonna talk about Miss Kimberly Jones Rothier. Rothier, I believe that I said that right. We're just gonna assume that I said it right. So, anywho, we didn't see a lot about her either, but she seems like a different individual, and not different in a bad way, but the whole anointed tutus, like her tutus, make her feel extra anointed to tell the gospel. So far I haven't seen anything about her that would make me not like her. And the same thing with Judah. Like I don't see anything that makes me not like him because first of all, we haven't really seen much about him and his family. Like he's not his family. But he did say something that I really liked, and that was we need to stop acting like we're God. Because we're not God. you know. So I totally agree with him. So I don't have anything against anybody except maybe a couple people. But we'll get to that later. So yes, Kimberly. Only thing I have to say about you is, ma'am, I cannot tell if you are a concerned individual or if you just nosy. Cause the whole thing with Leandria and Forrest and this whole baby mama thing kind of seems like you being a little too nosy. And I guess you could say that that's you being a good Christian, but just seem nosy to me. Like some things, it's kind of like you just want the tea, like you just want to sit back and sip on your tea. That's what it seemed like to me. But I digress. Who? But I'm going to talk about one of the pastors that I really like on this show, and that is Corey Hambrick. And I really like him because he's real, and I can appreciate that. He doesn't sugarcoat anything, even if his opinion, even if you don't agree with him, you can't help but to respect him because he presents it in such a way where he's not down your throat, but he's gonna tell you like it is. So I applaud him for that. And then they had this cold red event. Well, this is what he wanted to have, was a cold red event, so that men could talk. Well, not just men. I don't want to say just men. It was mostly men there, but I'm sorry, it's mostly men on the panel. But where law enforcement could talk to activists and people who were in neighborhoods that may feel threatened by the police. So it's basically trying to find a medium between those two where everybody can be happy and successful and thrive. Okay. But it got a little out of hand because of some stuff. But okay, I'm not even gonna touch that yet. We're not even there yet. I'm sorry, Michelle, slow your roll. So he wants to have this event because he's a detective as well as a pastor, which to me, I don't, I really have nothing against it, but it's just kind of an odd combination. But I guess, I mean, it can be done, and I really respect him because I feel like he is using his platform for good. This platform that he has of not only this church, being known, but this platform of being on Preachers of Atlanta and being able to get this message across to people. I respect that because we do need to create change. We do need to be able to coexist because we have no choice but to. Do people abuse their power? Yes. Do people pull the race car more than they should? Yes. But we have to get to a good place. So I totally respect him for that. He's very bold. And he always sends peaceful messages. I have not seen anything yet. We've seen 2 episodes, so I can't really say how he is or how he isn't. But from what I've seen, he wants to keep the peace. That's his main mentality. Um, and he roots for this young man, Antonio, although Antonio is very disrespectful. Which brings me to my next person to talk about. While he's not a preacher of Atlanta, he is a mentoree of Reverend Kenton Jones. I almost called him something else. I'm so sorry. So he's Reverend Jones is Pastor Jones. I'm sorry. Pastor Jones is the mentor of Antonio. And Antonio has this whole thing about the police and that the police, like he's NWA. Anywho, he's real down. He's real down this man's throat. And I get it. Like, you don't like the police, but he didn't do it to you. We need to stop judging a whole group of people based off of what one person you came across did to you. Like, I know that I can understand, seeing police brutality and then growing up in the neighborhood that he grew up in and living there. being so close to a high drug area. I get it. I get the frustration. But you want to call yourself a Christian, but are you really a new creature? Because you're acting just about as ghetto, if not even more ghetto, and rude and raunchy and everything else. And I don't get it. We want to say that we're Christians and we want to be godlike, but then this is what we turn around and do. We turn around and we gotta be so ignorant, and it's not ignorant. Well, he's ignorant as well, but he's ignorant as in not knowing, and it kills me because he doesn't want to know. And I can kind of see where he gets it from because his uncle wouldn't even shake Pastor Corey's hand, um, until after Pastor Corey talked. It was making sense, and the man couldn't do anything but respect it, and then he shook his hand. But he wouldn't shake his hand because he's a police officer. He's a detective, really, so you can't shake his hand. Like, how petty is that? And then he said, "Oh, I went to jail for being black." But that's, like I said, you all, that is another topic for another day. So, anyway, like I said, he's childish. Why are you so pressed on this man? That's all I want to know, Antonio. And then, Pastor Canton Jones, you just aid Antonio. And I get that you're his mentor, but why are you aiding this man? Why are you letting him think that it's okay to do this? I mean, maybe he had a conversation with him off to the side, but from what I see, you haven't really. You just said, "Oh, I'm trying to bring a happy medium," but this man sitting here, Antonio sitting here getting loud, and you just sitting back like ain't nothing happening. Like that's. Whew. But I love that you're, trying to get through to the younger generation with the gospel rap. I can appreciate that. But I just want to know, why is it so ghetto? It just seems really hood. That's what I'm not looking for ghetto. I'm looking for hood. It seems really hood. When I'm listening to you, I feel like I'm listening to a Yo Gotti song, or whatever rap artist is hot right now. I don't really know. But that's what I really feel like. I feel like it's kind of just like if anybody ever seen Hustle and Flow, like, woo, that, like that's what it seemed like. It seemed real Hustle and Flowish to me. Maybe that's just my opinion. And then, I mean, but it's all about lyrics. It is. I get it. But then you got Antonio rapping about riding around in a Lambo and a girl that loved God and picking her up in his Lambo. I was confused. But I'm just not gonna say anything about that because that's all I really have to say about Canton Jones and the fact that him and Reverend Bullock, the activist that he invited to the Code Red event, were sitting over there being rude, talking while other people were talking, and like you're not on TV, like they're not gonna. Like you don't have a microphone though, like they're not gonna pick up on what you're saying, and the whole world's gonna see what you're saying. Like that's rude. Don't talk while somebody else talking. Didn't you learn that in kindergarten? But you should have, because I learned that in kindergarten. Don't talk with other people. Okay. Now, whew, might have to drink me some tea for this one because this is the whew, this is the person that I have a lot to say about, and that is Miss Leandria Johnson. I never really listened to her music. I don't know why. I just never did. Nothing personal. When you think of gospel artists, I don't really think of her. Maybe that's because I'm just not familiar with her. I mean, I've heard of her, heard a song or two, but I wasn't ever like big on Leandria like I'm big on like Kirk or Erica or Tim Campbell. But anyway, so first thing we hear out your mouth is I pass out cigarettes and condoms. They ain't gonna have the nerves to say that God told you to do it. I'll just leave y'all with that for a minute. So God told you to aid people in their sins. I think you misinterpreted what he said. Because I really feel like he was saying, bring them out of sin, not help them with their sin, you know. Then I see on the next episode that's coming up, you're going to be dressing like a prostitute to go minister to people. Now, I get what you're saying about you can't dress uppity to go minister to prostitutes and homeless. I get that. But a pair of jeans and a t-shirt would have been just fine. Could even throw on some Chuck Taylors or some J's. But you got to fool out with the wig and all. Whew, lady. I feel like you're very petty. And then you are freely cursing and trying to run your husband over the cars. I, I feel like you lost, baby. To be honest, I feel like you need to pull it back in and remember who you're supposed to be serving. Because it seems like you're serving an 80 man, and my God. Because the way you are is ridiculous. You just freely telling somebody F you. Like that's how we're supposed to act as pastors. And we're ministering to people, telling them to do better and be better, and we're cursing people out. Okay, so then you say that you're like Jesus and Peter. Well, we see that. But if you're like that, then you should not be trying to minister to me. You need to be in the congregation listening, just like I am. Man, then she had the nerve to say that people are saved by grace. Well, roughly, this is what she said, that people are saved by grace so they can just see it. When talking to Pastor Kimberly, she was like, oh, well, you know, what about being saved by grace? Because Pastor Kimberly brought up the whole condoms and cigarettes thing. And she's like, oh, what about being saved by grace? Like, yeah, you're saved, but that means that you should want to do better, be better, and know better. I'm just saying, you guys. Don't get mad at me. I'm just telling you what happened. And Lord, this done turned into a 20-minute video. Ooh, I know y'all mad at me, honey. But I got a little bit to say. I'm wrapping up and then I'm going to be done. Believe y'all had y'all Elle for a week. I promise I'll make a shorter video next week. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down because I don't have nothing else to say. Well, I got something else to say, but it ain't on there. I've never really watched any of these preacher shows, but I watched this one because of Leandria. That's what drew me in because the commercial where she's talking about she's passing out cigarettes and condoms and she's dressed like a prostitute. That's what kind of, said, let me see what's really going on. Because now I'm not saying to support it, but as Christians, we need to be aware of what's going on, especially when it's using our name in it. But I feel like, first of all, preachers should never even be on TV. I'm not saying live your life in secret, but that's just not. I mean, I get that some of them are using their platform for good. I respect it and all. But it's just a show that didn't need to be made. Because then you have a few bad ones or a few, issues. And it's kind of like, it just deteriorates the good that's trying to be done. So I don't feel like the show should have been made. I mean, we all sin, like I said before. Sin is natural. Like it's what you're gonna do. Regardless, you could be the most holiest the holy person and you're still gonna sin. Because it's just, that human nature inside of you. But especially you, Andrea, I never would have gotten on TV, honey. I wouldn't have told nobody that. And then I'm sorry. One more thing before I leave. Hold on, this computer. So one more thing before I leave you all. So now the Andrea has beef with people on Periscope. So we're really man and women God. We're beefing over Periscope because you don't like something that a prophet said to you. Maybe I'll just cover that beef next week. How about that? Cause I'd already reached my 20-minute mark. So loves. They need Jesus, like my shirt say. But anyway, I'm done. I want to let y'all go because I know this video is long and I'm probably suffering through it. But I will say this: say that I thank everybody for the love and support that they've given me, and I hope that they continue to love and support me. So check out the Facebook page, ElegantElle. Check out the website, www.theelegantelle.com. Check out my Periscope, ElegantElle. And I'm going to get better at this social media, you guys. I promise. I'm not really good at it right now because I've never really been a social media person, but I'm getting better at it. So all I need is love and support, and I'll keep going. So until next time, loves, I'm out.